yeah, I almost forgot to do that, because some of the other guys aren't on. I think it's really important to be aware of strategies that you should be adopting, despite the fact that you're not there yet. And you know, we're none of us are like low level. We're all quite high level here. So the guy who came to speak to us in our training, our 2-star and above training, was talking about making habits. And I thought this was just, I mean, I was kind of doing the stuff without even realizing, and it was just kind of rocket science to me. So he talks about like 4 stages of making a habit. Like there's a cue, a craving, a response, and a reward. But this quote stuck with me. One of the most the biggest drivers of your habits is your physical environment. And I think we all know that, right? You know, I've spoken about just make sure that you've got a really positive and inviting working environment. And I'm pretty sure we all have got that here. But be really, really conscious of that and really kind of respectful of that space with that in mind. Because if it's not inviting and it's all a bit of a mess, or it's kind of here one day and it's there the other, and obviously I know like MJ, for example, will time block her tasks, so she won't always be like at a desk. But if you are physically sitting in an environment at home, that it's really welcoming. And he also said, like, if you want to make a habit a part of your life, then you need to make it part of your environment. And he was talking about this concept of habit stacking. So I don't know whether you guys have had this before, but say like most of us have a coffee in the morning. So like after I have my coffee, I'm going to do my personal development would be like one way to create a new habit. And it's just something that you tell yourself every day. And then you can start to stack them. So you could be like, after having my coffee, I'll do my personal development. And after personal development, I will do my workout. And then you could stack another one on the top. But the other thing that he said, there's several like quotes that I loved. He's written the book called Atomic Habits. So if you want to look that up, I'm probably going to get that book. He said, many people that think that they lack motivation, but they actually lack clarity. And I thought that was like really interesting. And I've said this before, like we all know, right? You know, we're working from home. And that's the thing. I think a lot of the time it isn't about motivation. It's just about instilling those habits within ourselves when we are working alone. And it's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I thought he had such a valid point there. Like I think about personally how far I've come and how I've kind of excelled from not even being a diamond in December to being a 3-star diamond now. And that's absolutely true. It's because I have sedimented these habits and I make them a non-negotiable. But it does have a lot to do with the working environment. And even personally, like I'll just share, like often I find my like working here all the time, I find that, and I'm sure you probably find the same, you're like, oh, I'll just go and I'll do that, and oh, that's bugging me, like that's a mess, and you sort it out. If that is the situation that you're experiencing with your working environment, particularly if you're working from home, take yourself off if you can, just to a working environment that is inviting for you. And I know personally, like I take myself to a coffee shop probably like 3 times a week, and I'll do like probably 2-hour blocks. And I'm not saying like you need to spend like hundreds of pounds on coffees, but I think it is a really good investment in your time if you're finding that your working environment is not motivating, and hence you're not going to stick to those habits that you're trying to make. Hi Heather. So just think about that from the perspective of, am I letting those habits that I know I need to make habits negotiables? And if I'm making them negotiables, is it because my working environment is not encouraging me to do those habits? And the habits that we're trying to make in this industry are pretty clear from the business activity tracker. But it's, I look at the business activity tracker personally, and I don't go top to bottom. I have a way that I do the business activity tracker that works for me and my habits and the way that I want to go about my day. So you could look at the business activity tracker and work out, right, where am I going to make these habits? I'm just looking at this as we go through. Hold on. Yeah. And this was something that literally was like a light bulb moment for me. I'm talking about one of the speakers that was in the 2-star and above training, Heather, and I was just talking about how we all have different tracks according to our rank, but this was I thought really good for you guys. And it's a chap who wrote the book Atomic Habits. And do you know what? I don't think I wrote down his name. But I think there's only one book called Atomic Habits. So I'm definitely going to be getting that book. He said, and this literally, I was like, I think of the whole trip, like learning wise, this was the biggest thing that resonated with me. He said, I have not seen a person consistently stick to positive habits in a negative environment. And you can affiliate that to like a physical negative environment, or you can affiliate that to an emotional negative environment. But really think about that, because that struck me. Like, I personally, I know a lot of my team know this, like, I don't like where we live because they found our house had subsidence. We had our car stolen off the drive. And I honestly, like, I struggle to work in this environment positively, consistently. So I take myself away from it because I know it impacts my business. So think about that. Like, are you really happy in your environment, physically and mentally? And if not, what do you need to address? Because I do believe that will make or break your success. And he was talking about this lady who she was like, I don't know, she was like late 80s, and she decided that she was going to make exercise a habit. And she called a cab to take her to the gym. And he was saying that the moment that she calls the cab, that's when she starts to make the habit. It's not actually getting to the gym, because calling the cab makes it a non-negotiable. So it might be, that you're putting your phone outside of your room, because then it's making it a non-negotiable. You will get out of bed at 5 a.m. And I know, like, that for us as coaches is a real struggle. We've all been there. Like, I've been there recently. We set the alarm and we're like, oh, I just can't. Like, I'm just going to wait 15 minutes. But actually that, like, oh, I just can't, I'm going to wait 15 minutes is what's going to give you the slight edge, and is going to be the difference between you seeing that huge success and you crushing your goals and you not crushing them. So, like, really think about that. And I know personally, like, that's my commitment to myself. I'm actually going to get myself a physical alarm clock, because I don't want to sleep with my phone next to my bed, because of the nature of our business. I'm going to leave my phone downstairs, and I'm going to get up at that time. The other thing he was talking about was this thing called a 2-minute rule. And he said, when you're trying to create a new habit, it can be really overwhelming. So I don't know if it's like maybe invites or follow-ups. I think we're a little bit further along than that. But if there's something that you're really struggling with in your business, like even if it's like making connections and you're like, oh, I just can't be bothered to do that, or you don't like doing it, try to make it a 2-minute habit to start with. Just do that thing for 2 minutes for a few days and then build up the time. And I thought that was, I've not tried it, but I thought that was like really an interesting thing that he said. And he also talked about don't break the chain. So don't break the chain on the habit. So like if you go 1 day breaking the habit, don't go 2 days of breaking the habit. Because if you get to 4 and 5 days of breaking the habit, you literally are like, I just can't get back to that place. And that certainly resonates with me. I'm sure it resonates with Lisa, because actually, honestly, at Summit, it was really, really hard to do those like vital behaviors, really hard. Because every second of the day is filled with, if it's not training, it's like going to like the Lucas Oil Stadium where we're having all these amazing presentations, and then being with your community that you've never met before. So obviously like things take the back burner, but I notice how I feel from having taken a step back from some of my consistent habits for several days in a row. So just call yourself out. If you feel that you are negotiating on that habit you're trying to make yourself do it. So yeah, let's just have a look. And this was the other thing. He said, the habits are not about a finish line. It's about a lifestyle. And that wasn't just him. There were several top coaches like Danielle Natoni. She was in our training, like giving some amazing training. Often we can be like, and certainly when we've had these push groups, which is something else I'm going to talk to you guys about towards the end of this call, just about like strategizing and what we want to do. We often think, oh, okay, so I've just got to get to this goal and then that's it. And that is, obviously like diamond is a goal, and then it's kind of pushing for the next one. But recognizing that for the long term, guys, if this is what we want to do for our business, there's not going to be a finish line. We need to be motivated by more than a finish line, by more than I want to be a 2-star diamond. Like, walking across the stage was pretty amazing, I'm not going to lie, and I'm motivated as anything to walk up there as at least a 5-star diamond next year. But it's also about recognizing why you're doing this for the long term, and how and why it's an amazing lifestyle that you want to adopt forever, regardless of like what rank you are. Because I think that's the thing, is if we focus all the while on the rank, then when you hit those ranks, it's like, oh, you kind of feel deflated. So come back to why you're doing it. And I know like Ashley Molstad, for example, her talking on the stage was unbelievable. She was top coach this year, like bawling her eyes out. And the one thing that really resonated with me about her success was that she never ever focuses on numbers. She never ever focuses on Success Club numbers. She never even focuses on like, yeah, she'll have it like as a goal to be top coach, but she says it's always about the impact and the changes that she's making to people's lives. And like what an amazing gift it is to have somebody turn around and say, you've changed my life. And I think that really resonated with me because that's what the top coach is doing. And I think that's something that we need to come back to as the reason, like obviously we've got broader whys, like we all want different things for our lives with what we're doing, but actually the impact that we're making. And then like the Beachbody Challenge. So Christopher Pandolfo, who is a UK coach, he won that challenge for his age bracket. So that was for like, not just the Biggest Loser, like it's about the story and the weight loss as well. And I know like Lisa and I were in that crowd with 20,000 people, like literally bawling our eyes out because like, and I'm starting to well up now because you realize this is what we're doing here. We're physically changing people's lives. And I think we just need to always keep that front and center. Like when we're having a tough day, like it's not about us, like it's our gift and it's our duty to share this with people who actually really, really need our help. So that's something that I would say. I'm just looking at something else here, which might be quite relevant to you guys. Yeah, so like, how would you want to be remembered? That is like way better than going after like ribbons and stuff like that. Like, what do you want to be remembered for on your deathbed? What would you like your legacy to be? That kind of stuff is what's going to motivate you to really like go for like superstar diamond if that's what you really want, because it's going to be about what you want your legacy to be about. And I know for you, like you gals who are, you know, your medics, it's about helping people, it's about changing their lives. So I'm sure that's going to be kind of where it is for you too, if you're running one beside the other in terms of like having a multi-career here. So yeah. The other thing that was really interesting, and this was another thing that Danielle Natoni said in our training was, you know, take ownership of your story and use that story to inspire someone else. And I know we know like posts shouldn't be just about us, but I think sometimes we can forget that actually it is, we need to make it relevant to our audience. Like, how are we helping our audience? And with that being said, you know, sometimes we feel like we've got a story or a struggle that we're going through and we don't want to share it. And it was Bonnie Engel actually who was saying that she shared something to do with her life that was a real struggle, and it went viral, and it made her realize how important it is to not only share the good, but share the bad, and then share like how you've come through it, because that's going to be your tribe. Like, you know, for me, it's like, obviously there's a lot of my mum. For me, it's also like corporate job, anxiety, getting signed off work, new mother, like that whole thing is what attracts my tribe. And I know like looking at a lot of my team, that's the kind of person that I have attracted. And so like being really specific on what your story is and what kind of person you want to then attract in. And you also want to ask yourself, how is this going to inspire someone else? Like, how is this post going to inspire someone else? And actually Bonnie Engel said, like, there is a trend on Instagram right now to write really short captions. And I know, like, I'm like thinking sometimes, right, I need to write really short captions because that, you know, it gets more traction, more engagement. But she made a really good point, and she said, we're not those people who are just about a short caption and a photo, because we are marketeers. We have a story to tell. And if we're going to bring our story down to one line, we're not going to resonate with our tribe. They want to hear our story. And I know that I love to talk about stories and have longer posts. So just, yeah, don't feel that you have to write really short captions. Sorry, like literally I got off the plane earlier on, so I'm just reading through my notes and just making sure I'm giving you guys the best bits. And then Rachel Hollis, I mean, she was like, I can't even tell you, like, and in all honesty, like when I read that book. I didn't resonate with it that much. She is the most motivational, unbelievable woman that I have ever seen in my life. And she was basically like shouting at the crowd, like, don't you fucking dare give up on your dreams because you're finding it hard. Don't you ever give up on it because you find it hard. Because I find it hard, but I dig in when I find it hard. And actually, and this is something Ashley Molstad also said in her speech, when you're in that trench, in that valley, which a lot of us, we get stuck in that trench, in that valley. Ashley Molstad said this, and it loops back to what Rachel Hollis also said. She said, there were times when I was in that valley and I didn't think there was a mountain for me to climb. I didn't think there was anything for me. Like, I was so depressed, I wanted to take my own life. That's what Ashley Molstad said. And she said, and there was my own mountain for me. There was my own mountain for me. And like, look what she's achieved. So it's so moving to see that. And she also shared the photo of her, of Emily Forver and Ashley Molstad at their first summit. And I'll tell you, they look no different to your eye. Like, literally, like baby coaches, their Instagram was just awful. So don't ever think it's not available to you, and don't ever give up. And don't ever let the people who might doubt you, or, you know, your community, whether that's like close relationships, friends, family, don't ever let them allow you to give up on your dreams. And I think that is the biggest challenge potentially that we face, is that we compromise on that dream because we want to make someone else happy. And that's really interesting, because on the way back on the plane, I was listening to Keisha Fitzgerald's podcast, and she said, if you give up on your dreams because of somebody else, you will always resent them, and it will never work out anyway. And I was like, yeah, that really hit me hard. So like, whomever that may be, and not everyone's going to understand. They're not all going to understand, and that's okay. They don't have to, but you have to get clear on why you're doing this, so that if you come across those struggles, you dig in, not reel back. And I think, to be fair, that's all I'm going to share today, because if I sit here and like talk to you for like another 20 minutes, you're not going to remember any of it, and it's going to get really boring. And I also thought it would be really nice for, if you guys have got any questions, firstly, like, ask away now, and then I'm just going to get Lisa to talk about her own experience of Summit, because I think for you guys, that's really good too, to hear from other people about their experiences. Has anyone got any questions? And I'm going to unmute you. I'm trying to unmute you, but I think you've all put yourselves on mute, so I can't. Does anyone want to ask anything?
I just know that Keisha's podcast, she has a really good episode that talks about the habit stacking.
Does she? Which one is it?
I don't know.
You don't know? Don't worry, I'll have a look.
From at least maybe last month, but she talks about that book, and then she talks about how she habit stacks, and
yeah,
really good.
It wasn't the first time I'd heard it, but I just think it's actually the best way to go about, you know, this job is actually easy if we'll just only commit to like stacking the habits and just making it non-negotiable. Thanks, that's super helpful. I'm gonna look that one up. Anyone got any questions or want to add anything or ask anything? No.
I have major FOMO from y'all stuff. I know. I'm so excited. I'm like,
you've won it. You don't even need to book it. Silly me. We're all trying to book the Marriott in New Orleans.
I love New Orleans. It's going to be so much fun.
I've never been. So I'm going to look up. I've asked Danielle to send me the link, and I might just, like, if we all book rooms, it'll be super cool to be in the same hotel.
Yeah.
But I don't want any of you to underestimate the like power of that. I'm really excited to see where everyone goes. And of course, when we get the photo shoot photos, we'll share them with you all. That photo shoot was so huge. It was so huge that it was almost impossible for the photographer to get us on. Lisa, do you want to share anything, or you don't have to? I know you're super jet lagged too. So.
Can you tell? No, I'd love to actually, because I've kind of gotten to the point. Obviously, I've come into this business and I've wanted to make this my full-time job. And I'd got to the point where I was thinking, oh my God, can I actually do this? And starting to question my own capabilities. Having gone to Summit, now bear in mind, right, my brain is just barely functioning at the moment. I've just been sitting eating like dinner with my husband, and he's saying, so what have you been doing? What did you do? What was going on? And I'm just kind of staring at him going, I can't remember. So having gone to Summit now and seen, I'm guessing like the sheer like potential of this business has just blown my mind completely. But we've literally crammed so much into 4 days. I mean, we barely got more than 6 hours sleep a night, and we still, you know, couldn't get it all in, crammed in basically. So from the general sessions, I actually found them a lot more because see, I told you my brain is just not working right now. They were just really, really inspiring, and they were more helpful than the trainings that we went to, because like you said, you know, they were the ones that we attended were kind of basic, and we were already receiving that training from you. So I guess if there was any recommendations to be taken from that, I would say, can you find a sort of middle ground for those pushing for diamond, who are, you know, comfortable emeralds but not quite diamond yet. So obviously from that point of view, we kind of didn't take a great deal away, but from the general sessions and the empowerment presentations that we had, it was just amazing. I was just sat there going, oh my God, I can do this. But the biggest thing, other than meeting like all of the team and getting to know people, which actually is amazing, because I think it helps you, that drives you forward as it is, because you know as a team you want to move forward together. But it was I've gone off my train of thought again. I need to process all this. I really do need to process it. The recognition, seeing what people have achieved in this business, and like you were saying, if you go in purely to make money, it's not going to work. And it was Melanie Mitro that said, you've got to serve. Only when you serve will you then be able to reap the reward. So you've got to kind of put that aside and just serve people. Find out who needs you, who needs your help, serve them, and you will be successful. And I think that sentiment resonated with all the top coaches, and everybody was recognised at Summit. But no, my biggest takeaway from it, if you asked me this tomorrow, I'd probably be able to say a lot more and be able to tell you just how amazing it was. But just right now, my brain's just there was just so much going on. It was unbelievable. But no, the sheer power of this business is mad. There's no other word for it. Yeah.
And to like, you know, for you guys, like walking across there, anyone that's a 1-star diamond or above walks across the stage. So like you sit at the front, there's the whole stadium is full, like 20,000 people. You get given a flag. In fact, mine's downstairs. And they raise this massive flag for each rank, and you walk across that stage, and honestly, it's just the most unbelievable thing. It's just the recognition and the support and the positivity. Like there's no one there that says you can't, right?
I'll tell you what else we've not even really touched on was the mass workout on the Saturday. How I didn't start crying at that, I have no idea, but that was immense. There's no other words for it, was there?
Literally. I started bawling my eyes out, because it just hits you. Like all of the hairs on my arms were up. It was like 10 blocks were closed, and there were like women of all shapes, sizes, races, colors, ages, and we were all working out together. And that, it just you realize, right, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, to help other women who don't yet know about this, so that they can be a part of it too. It was amazing. And the camaraderie, like the teams, the way that they group together, it's I think women need it in their life big time. So yeah, and I'll touch more on this. Like I'm going to consolidate my notes so that on Sunday we can have a proper team call that's kind of more generic. But I think what I wanted to get on a call with you guys about is what you guys what do you guys want from this business for the next 6 months? What goal do you want to achieve? Where do you want to be? I know we spoke about this before, and I know you've all got those goals. But with that in mind, if you're going for those goals, I need you to lean in. And I need you to commit to those goals, and go for it in whatever way it is you go for it. And I know, like, certainly for like people like Lisa, there are a few other coaches who really want to do those push pods where they're held accountable to their figures and stats. And I will run that group when I start it up for just 1 month, because I think rolling longer than that is too long. And I just want to know and understand who wants to be a part of that, who is going to be held accountable day in, day out, regardless of circumstance, and who doesn't want to do that and doesn't feel that it works their business. Because honestly, like, it's not going to be something that everyone wants to do. There are people who are going to want to do this, and perhaps people that aren't. So I would just love to hear, like, where do you want to be at the end of this year? And of course, whether or not you want to be a part of the group. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first if you want.
Yeah.
While my brain's still functioning. Well, having just done Summit, I know that I was never sort of, oh God, here we go again. I feel like I'm drunk, and I'm really not. I was never motivated by the thought of walking across the stage at Summit until I've seen people walking across the stage at Summit. So I've already set my goals out. By next year's Summit, I want to be 2-star walking across that stage for sure. Yeah.
Game on.
But I've definitely, well, I've kind of got it set now. My stages. I've got the dates set that I want to achieve and by when. I can't even remember what else you wanted us to say.
Just whether or not you want to be part of a push pod, whether or not you want that.
Yes, I do. Sorry, yes. Yeah. I need that in my life. Mm-hmm. That's it, I'm done.
Okay, cool. Kelly, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I will do. Sorry, it's really dark.
Oh, no,
just realised everyone can see everyone really well, and I'm in black. Yeah, being part of the pod would be really helpful for me.
Okay.
And yeah, I would like to be diamond by September.
Okay. Oh, I can't hear you. Anyone else? I can't hear you. I don't know where your volume's gone.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah, I can hear you now.
My headphones keep coming out for some reason.
No, that's fine. I can hear you.
So yeah, diamond by September.
End of September or beginning?
What are we now? Beginning of September.
Maybe just come back to me on that.
Yeah, beginning, really.
Beginning. Okay, cool.
You know my financial, what I want.
Yeah, I know that. Okay, cool. Perfect. And so you want to be part of the Diamond Pod. Okay, cool.
Yeah, bearing in mind that I'm also doing a PT course. I'm literally stacked to the hilt.
Just make sure that when you're going for these goals, guys, and you've heard me say it till the cows come home, make it a non-negotiable. It's not I will be, right? I will be. If you will be that, you will do the action required to achieve that goal. If you say I want or I need or I like, honestly, and this was something, I think it was Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa. She said, you need to write your goal down, set it in stone, and do not negotiate on it once. And I was like, yeah, that's why I've hit my goals. So just really think about that and just, it's going to happen. I know we've got an amazing team here and I know we're going to do it. I'm pretty excited. Cool. Anything else, Kelly?
Nope.
Okay. I'm just going to mute you. SJ?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so my strategy is a little bit different. I want to be I intend to be 1-star by the end of this year. But my strategy is to build, following on from that video that I saw about being a strong diamond and having lots of emeralds underneath me. So that's my strategy, and building volume, because my focus is more about the income, not necessarily about hitting 1-star, 2-star. I mean, obviously that will come, but my strategy for me is about building volume and building the income, because my goal is to leave my job at the end of the year, and that has always been my goal, is to do this so I can leave my job. So yeah, that's where I am. And you know, I want to be building really strong boot camps as well, with customers that are loyal and are back. And you know, this goes back to what you were saying earlier about, you know, wanting to help people. And you know, as a personal trainer, I see this as an extension of that personal training. So my goal might be slightly different in terms of, you know, hitting those ranks. It's more about getting that income. Does that make sense?
But and this is something I'm going to share probably on the next Business Builders call. There was a track then on the following day that was all about building volume and the recognition system and the income system. And they said if you're going for one or the other, it doesn't matter. Usually they're going to align. So that's and that is a great strategy. So there's nothing wrong with it, for sure.
In terms of the pods, I have said before, it's you know, I think for some people it works really well. For me, it makes me question myself, and I feel I'm more prone to comparing myself to other people. So for my own kind of like mind, it's
of course.
So,
and that's fine.
I don't mean anything rude by that.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly, like, I know everyone's different, and I'm not offended in the slightest. That I knew you'd probably say that, and that's totally so don't feel bad about it. Perfect. Thanks, SJ.
Okay.
MJ.
Yeah, so my diamond date is August 1st. And these past 2 weeks have been pretty crazy. So that's my focus for the rest of the month. And then I want to be 1-star by 2020. I do start school again in September, so I feel like the rest of this month and August is going to be all about really getting down my habits and my system so that it's not struggling to do like the daily activity tracker and everything. It's just part of my day. So, and I'd like to move back to the East Coast. So being diamond or 1-star would definitely help make that happen faster. And
that's, you know, I love what you've said there. This is a bit of a tangent, but it is related to what we said earlier on. Like, Guy and I are like we want Beyond Belief to move to the States. Like we always have done. And that whole working environment thing, like I was in Maryland for that week and I signed up 6 people. And you realize, like, when you are super content in your environment, it has such an impact on your success. So I love that. And I love that as a goal. And I know, like, for some of the most successful coaches, their goals are very much like, you know, if it's a rank or an income thing, so that they can make a move. And that's certainly true of where I am for the short term before I go more long term with my goals. So I love that.
Yeah. And then me and Heather are going to make a sneak peek this week.
So yay! Oh, that's so cool. You guys, I'm so excited. You're going to make it all like about scrubs and stuff.
That's a good idea.
So should.
Perfect.
What are those things called? Is it a stethoscope?
Yeah.
Put that on the visual at the back.
I love it. Great idea.
Do you want to be part of a Diamond Push Pod?
Yeah, especially, I've been a student for so long that I really like deadlines and accountability and having to check in.
Okay, cool. Perfect. And Heather? Hello. I'm trying to unmute you. Oh, there you go. You're unmuted?
There we go. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. So I have really done a crappy job this month, and I told you about it. I was really disappointed in myself. But yeah, so my work situation's been a little crazy. So for us this year, this like school year or whatever, is like the hardest one out of the 4 years, because it's like the first time we're like by ourselves and we don't have like an upper level or a senior to help us. So I know that, and I know my schedule until December is going to be horrific. So that's what I'm a little worried about this fall, is like really making the time while keeping my sanity. But I feel like I just got to get in the groove of it, and then I'll be okay. I just have to like figure out my schedule and all that kind of stuff. But I am a little worried about that.
I think you gotta pour into your cup first. Like, you can't do all the stuff until you just got to work out what makes you happy.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Sorry, what else? The push pod, I really need accountability. Like, I need someone to be on my butt. But I'm like SJ too, is like, I'm like SJ, I really like compare myself really bad to people. So when I see people with like 100 invites, I'm like, oh my gosh, I suck. So I don't know.
You don't have to one. It's honestly, I'm not going to make any judgment either way. And also, like, if to help you with that comparison, like, just remember, you're never going to have the same numbers as someone like me, because you're working full time. So if that helps with the comparison, but if you don't want to be a part of it, I have zero problem whatsoever. Like, it has no indication on how successful you're going to be. For some people it's going to work really well, and for some people it's not. So,
well, I think like it helped me because like I signed up a lot of people when I was doing it. So it's good that I like have that accountability. So go ahead and put me in there, and I'll do it. And if I start to feel like in a bad headspace, let's say my goodbyes.
You got me up.
I'm really tired. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. I'm like,
I know y'all are like crazy tired. Like, but I'm so glad y'all made it back safe.
Yeah. So I think this is what I'm going to do with these dates is, what I'd like to do is make sure that if we've got an accountability group, that we've all got similar. We don't all have similar dates and goals, but I think then we don't call it a Diamond Push Pod. We just call it what we call it. And with that being said, like, according to what goal you've given me, you then share your dates for your diamonds or 1-star diamonds. Have you redone your diamond date?
No, that's what I was about to say, is I haven't picked one yet. I want to do it definitely within the next couple of months. I need to pick like a for sure date though.
You're so close though.
I know.
So Heather is 2 emeralds away from diamond.
I know. I just cannot get anybody to emerald.
Do you think it's because the way that you show up is very much that you lead the boot camp?
I don't know. I really, like, I don't know what to do. Cause like I have 2 that I introduced like in the Hustle and Heart group, and they were like really interested in everything. I gave them the stuff for the training, and I check in with them like every couple of days or so just to say, hey, how's it going? How's the training going? But they've kind of like put it on the back burner a little bit. So
it's about recruiting more people.
Yeah.
I tell you, within like, and this is something I've learned, and like hopefully this is useful for all of you. If somebody doesn't start to do something after about 2 months, I'd say they're probably not going to do anything. Is the experience that I've had. Some people will take up to that time to actually say, do you know what, like, I've got a girl, a young little coach called Paige, and she's finally starting to run. And it's been her seeing me at Summit and everything else that she's like, do you know, I really want to do this. I'm going to stop messing around. I'm going for it. And it's taken her that time.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that I've learned, and for you guys as leaders, is make sure that you give them all of the resources they need to do all of those things. And as long as you've done that, if you're then getting nothing from them, it suggests to me that they are not doing the things to.
Yeah. And one of them is a school teacher. So I know like when she gets back into school, she can literally have so much potential. Like everybody there will, I'm sure, want to do something. So hopefully when that gets kickstarted, and she'll be able to sign up some more people.
I would just say, like, and this is something that came out of Summit, like 90% of what we do should be recruitment, should be on that drive, and only 10% on the team. And obviously as you change and you grow, you need to nurture that team more. And certainly, like, I now have a lot of you guys emerging as leaders, and it's important that you guys get what you need from me, but also it's important that you guys are autonomous as well, and that I don't have to like necessarily check in with you because you guys know what you're doing, and that's kind of the way it should be. but I would definitely say like just keep on the recruit, because all you need is 2 girls to go Emerald, and those girls that do want to do it will probably do it like that, like a lot of you guys did. So yeah. Are there any more questions?
I feel like I had questions and now I can't think of them.
Who's going to book their summit ticket tonight? I am.
I don't know what I have to do yet. They said they were going to send
Oh, you're booked. You're
Okay.
done.
Okay.
This is so exciting. So once it's booked, what I'll do is when I've booked mine, I'm just going to put it in that thread, and then I will just look up where this hotel is, and because usually you can book these hotels and you don't have to pay anything, you just book them way in advance, and then at least we've locked our rooms in, which is, I can't believe it. I can't believe we're already talking about the next event. Cool. I don't want to keep you guys any longer unless you've got any other questions. I'm sorry it's a short one, but honestly I'm sledgehammered. And thank you so much for making it, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to say bye because it looks like there's no more questions. Take care. Bye. Well done.